For more than a decade after Robin Gibb's passing, the public mostly remembered the soaring harmonies, the iconic falsetto, and the timeless Bee Gees records that shaped generations. What remained hidden, however, was the quieter, more complicated story of the man behind that unmistakable voice. His children chose silence for many years, not out of secrecy alone, but out of respect for a father who had spent his life in the spotlight, yet guarded parts of his heart fiercely. Time, though, changes perspectives. As memories softened and grief matured, they began to speak, not to sensationalize his struggles, but to humanize him. They wanted fans to see the fuller picture, a gifted artist, a loving yet imperfect father, and a man navigating pressures few truly understood. Their reflections reveal warmth, vulnerability, and the emotional depth that music alone could never fully capture. Childhood roots and the birth of harmony. Long before the Bee Gees became global icons, Robin Gibb was simply a boy growing up in a restless, music-filled household. Born on December 22, 1949, on the Isle of Man, just minutes before his twin brother Maurice, Robin entered a world already humming with melodies. Their parents encouraged creativity, and frequent moves from the Isle of Man to Manchester and later to Australia shaped the brothers' adaptability and closeness. Childhood mischief and boundless energy often filled their days, yet music proved to be their grounding force. Sitting together, the brothers experimented with harmonies, instinctively blending their voices in ways that would later define pop history. These early moments were less about fame and more about discovery. Three siblings realizing that when they sang together, something rare and beautiful happened. It was not ambition yet, but pure connection, the earliest spark of a lifelong musical bond. Early performances and the first taste of recognition. By the mid-1950s, that spark began turning into action. The brothers formed small local groups, performing wherever they could, and slowly building confidence on modest stages. When the family moved to Australia, new opportunities appeared. Television performances and early recordings gave young Robin his first taste of recognition, and even at a tender age, his tremolo-rich voice stood apart. Audiences noticed the emotional quality in his singing, a maturity beyond his years that hinted at future greatness. Signing with a record label in their teens was both thrilling and overwhelming, as rapid attention replaced the simplicity of childhood creativity. Success arrived quickly, and with it came expectations none of them fully understood. While the world saw rising stars, inside the family there was still a sense of disbelief, as if the journey was moving faster than their ability to grasp what it might eventually demand from them. Fame arrives faster than preparation. The late 1960s brought explosive popularity, chart-topping songs, and international tours that transformed the Bee Gees into household names. Yet fame, while dazzling, carried a hidden weight. Robin was still very young, navigating adulthood under constant public scrutiny. The excitement of sold-out venues coexisted with exhaustion, homesickness, and the challenge of maintaining personal relationships amid relentless schedules. Interviews and performances left little room for privacy, and the transition from enthusiastic teenager to global celebrity happened almost overnight. His children later described this period as both magical and disorienting, a time when opportunities multiplied but emotional grounding became harder to maintain. The applause was loud, but quiet moments were scarce. The world saw confidence and polish, while behind the scenes Robin was learning, sometimes painfully, how demanding success could be and how easily personal balance could slip away when life moves too fast. Love, distance, and personal growing pains. As his career expanded, Robin entered adulthood with hopes for stability and companionship. Early relationships were filled with sincerity, yet the constant travel and professional pressure created unavoidable distance. Maintaining family life while touring internationally proved difficult, and emotional strain sometimes followed prolonged separations. Friends and relatives later recalled that Robin often carried the weight of responsibility heavily, striving to meet expectations both on stage and at home. These years were not defined solely by hardship, but by learning. discovering what it meant to balance ambition with personal well-being. His children have spoken gently about this era, emphasizing that their father deeply cared for those around him, even when circumstances made connection challenging. It was a period of growth rather than scandal, marked by human imperfections and sincere attempts to find harmony between love, career, and the evolving identity of a young man under extraordinary pressure. A second chapter and a more creative home life. In the mid-1980s, Robin entered a new chapter marked by renewed creativity and a partnership that brought fresh stability. His marriage to artist and writer Dwina Murphy introduced a household filled with imagination, spirituality, and artistic collaboration. Their home became a place where music, painting, and storytelling blended naturally, offering Robin a sense of calm he had long sought. While public attention still surrounded him, his private world began to feel more grounded. His children described this time as one where he seemed more reflective and open to exploring interests beyond commercial success. Creative freedom replaced some of the earlier urgency, allowing him to experiment with different musical ideas and personal projects. It was not a flawless era, but it was one defined by maturity, shared creativity, and a growing appreciation for quieter moments, those small, meaningful experiences that often matter more than applause. Brotherhood, collaboration, and unspoken tensions. The Bee Gees' harmonies symbolized unity. Yet, like many close families working together, the brothers occasionally faced creative disagreements. These tensions were rarely about rivalry and more about artistic direction and identity. Who should lead a song, how an album should sound, or what message they wanted to share. Despite differing opinions, the foundation of their relationship remained love and shared history. Their children later explained that disagreements were part of being passionate artists, not signs of broken bonds. On stage, their voices intertwined seamlessly, reflecting years of instinctive understanding that words could never fully express. Off-stage, conversations were sometimes complex, but always rooted in mutual respect. The world often imagines conflict where there is simply human difference, and in truth, their collaboration endured because each brother valued the other's strengths, even when perspectives didn't perfectly align. Loss, reflection, and the weight of family grief. The passing of Maurice Gibb in 2003 marked one of the most emotionally difficult periods in Robin's life. Losing a twin meant losing someone who had shared not only childhood memories, but also a lifelong creative partnership. Grief reshaped family dynamics, prompting moments of reflection and renewed appreciation for time together. Those close to Robin observed a quieter, more introspective side emerging during these years. Music became both comfort and tribute, a way to honor shared history while processing sorrow privately. His children recall that he spoke often about memories rather than regrets, focusing on gratitude for the journey they had experienced together. This period revealed his emotional depth and resilience, showing that behind public performances stood a deeply sensitive individual, health challenges, and unbreakable determination. In his later years, Robin faced serious health challenges with remarkable determination. Even during medical treatments, he remained connected to music, often composing and planning future performances. Those around him remember his optimism and refusal to let illness define his spirit. Working alongside his son on musical projects became a source of strength, transforming difficult days into moments of creative focus. His resilience inspired family and fans alike, demonstrating how deeply music was woven into his identity. Rather than retreating, he leaned into artistry as a form of hope and expression. Doctors focused on recovery plans, while Robin focused on melodies and ideas, believing that creativity itself was healing, legacy, memories, and the voice that remains. In the years following his passing, Robin Gibb's legacy has grown warmer and more human through the stories shared by his children. They speak less about fame and more about late-night songwriting sessions, gentle humor, and the quiet kindness he showed in everyday life. Financial matters, public rumors, and headlines faded in importance compared to memories of a father who lived and breathed music. His son's performances of unpublished works ensure that Robin's creative spirit continues reaching new audiences, not as nostalgia, but as living art. What emerges from these reflections is not a flawless legend, but a deeply passionate individual who loved his family, valued creativity, and expressed emotion through a song. His voice endures not only in recordings, but in the lives he touched. The harmonies remain timeless, carrying forward the humanity behind them.